So today we're going to talk about something that I hope is not controversial, and we're not here to debate anything about the coronavirus or the riots or anything else that's going on in the world. We are not here to say that the coronavirus is not important and that being careful is not important, so none of that. But we are here to talk about traveling during the current situation and why we decided to continue and go on with our dream and our plan, but how we've rerouted and how we've gone about doing things and changed some things because of everything that has been going on. Our house sale fell through 3 times because 2 out of the 3 times buyers lost their jobs due to the coronavirus. So our plans kept getting delayed. And that's not to say that, oh, boo-hoo on us, our life's so horrible and difficult. Obviously, people are much worse. But we, once we decided to take off and our house sale finally, went through and everything, the house sale hadn't actually gone through yet, but it was in the process of it, and we decided to take off and we rerouted. So we were going to go to the northeast states and kind of wrap around the country. As the coronavirus did not seem to lighten up enough and the rules lighten up enough and all of that, we decided to reroute and go west.
Also, when we started, it was more of a lockdown when we started.
Yeah, things were just starting to open back up. So things were just starting to open back up, and we started in West Virginia and then went to Virginia, and we were there for a little while. And West Virginia and Virginia were very similar to Maryland, where me and the kids were staying.
This was all like phase 1. Phase 1 had started with everything.
They were still pretty strict.
Right after the quarantine and all that.
Yeah, so they were still pretty strict with everything. So campgrounds were open, and the reason we felt comfortable with traveling is because traveling via camper and going to do the things that we're doing, which are outdoors things, we are around much fewer people than we would be, or a lot of people would be on a normal basis in their normal town doing their normal thing. In fact, if anything, I think we are taking the more responsible route because we are staying away from people a lot. And some of the campgrounds have been somewhat close together, and others have been way spread out.
No one wears masks.
And other times we've been boondocking.
Not a single campground in any state we've been to do people wear masks at campgrounds.
Yeah.
We're spaced enough apart.
Out.
We're not like in each other's bubbles.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people don't, but not a single campground do you see people wearing masks.
There haven't been any rules on that. For the most part, the amenities have been open, like the laundry and the playgrounds. Some of the pools are not open, but usually they have rules. So it's like you have to stay away from people, and you can only be so many at a time in there. And a lot of places have rules where, a lot of states have rules where you don't necessarily have to wear a mask outside, but a lot of times you do inside, but you have to wear it outside if you are very close to people. So what we have done in every state that we have been in, we have always worn our masks in indoor facilities, as well as brought our masks anytime we have gone out in public outside. And we don't always necessarily wear the masks. Like you'll see in our videos and pictures, we're not wearing the masks a lot. And a lot of times that's because we just aren't near people. But also, we might just like take it off real quick for a picture or something like that. But again, we're almost never like hanging out close to people. So we always bring them when we're outdoors, at least for John and me, if nothing else. The baby, he's not going to wear it, and the 4-year-old, he barely does. It just ends up fiddling with it the whole time. But for the most part, I would say
Virginia and West Virginia no one was really wearing it, because at the time it was like phase 1, so everybody kind of ditched them.
Yeah.
It wasn't until Tennessee, when we got to Tennessee and all the reports were coming out that the numbers were back on the rise, that they made the masks kind of mandatory again. So
right. So it was that in between when the masks were in a lot of places not being enforced anymore, and then they were enforced again, or maybe for the first time. Some of the states it was enforced for the first time. So when we were in Tennessee, I think that was the first time that they started enforcing it, was while we were there.
I don't know.
And that was new to everybody, and so it was sort of like you would see half the people wearing them and half of them weren't. everyone was still sort of confused, I guess, or like getting used to it. But
the places that are mandatory, like if you go to a Walmart now, there's always somebody like standing outside making sure you got a mask on when you're going in.
yeah, so the big name
But the thing is, after, once you go in, I see so many people without them. So it's like they just put them on to walk in, and then when they get in, they take them off. Like, there's more than once. This has been more in, like, Illinois and Iowa.
I don't know if it's a cultural thing or they're just kind of used to not wearing masks on a normal basis, and they're, you know, day to day, because they don't really see a lot of people. I don't know.
Everybody's used to not wearing masks.
Well, I mean, if you live in a big city or you live in a more populated area, you're used to being out around people more. I'm trying to give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm trying to give people the benefit of the doubt. And we're not here to get into the mask debate. You know, we're not medical professionals or anything like that. We have noticed that the big name stores kind of have their rules, and that's across the board. It doesn't matter what state you're in.
Well, I find that it's at every store.
And then for the most part, the stores do want you. Yeah, they do want you to wear the masks.
But we're not going to many places like many businesses.
No, we really don't go out in crowded places a lot. I mean, we go to the grocery store, of course, and get in the gas station. But we have not yet, in this entire time that we've been traveling for over a month, gone shopping like in a mall or in a shopping area or anything like that.
Most has been grocery stores.
Yeah.
So you gotta go get food.
We haven't gone to any big events or any big gatherings of any sort. And the things that we're going to are all outdoor things, and some of them are more touristy than others, and some of them are more crowded than others. Some are very quiet, and it's been a big range. I would say the Great Smoky Mountains was definitely crowded. That's supposedly the most popular national park in the country, and I think it's just because of the location. I don't think it's that amazingly gorgeous. It is gorgeous, but we lived in North Carolina for so long, so we were used to seeing mountains, and I think it's a location that's easy for a lot of people to get to. So that was pretty crowded. Some locations have put in more rules about that type of thing and letting in a certain number of people, or maybe you even have to schedule a time to go and that type of thing. And other places, like that location, for example, didn't do any of that. So like people were just there, and you don't really know until you get there how crowded it's going to be. So we've tried really hard to not only because of the coronavirus, but because we just don't like being around crowds of people and wrangling our children and everything. We've tried very hard to try to go to things early in the morning before the big crowds get there, and try to kind of see things when we get there, and kind of try to plan our route, you know, and that type of thing. And again, we always bring our masks, we always bring our hand sanitizer. You know, we try to do what we can. And as far as things closed, for the most part, things have been open. Like I said, sometimes the pools and things like that have been closed. But again, we're heading west purposely in part for this reason. So we're going, and we are currently in South Dakota, we're going to the states that are more rural, where things are more spread out, and there is less coronavirus, and there is less restrictions generally, I think. I haven't really read recently, but from what I understand. And so that's why I think we have been not as impacted by all of it. If we were trying to travel in the states where things are crazy, then it would be a very different story.
Also, it's been farms.
It's been the country. I mean, everything we've been to so far has been a largely rural. You know, we've been to West Virginia, Virginia.
We've seen a ton of corn.
We've been to Tennessee, Kentucky, Southern Illinois, Missouri, and Iowa, and now we're in South Dakota. So we went only in the southern part of Illinois, like nowhere near Chicago or any big cities. Like we haven't been, the only city we have been to is, oh my gosh, where the Gateway Arch was, St. Louis, Missouri. And all we did was go to the Gateway Arch and come back. And they did a great job of keeping things safe from riots, safe from coronavirus. I mean, they were on top of things there. You have to schedule a time to go see it online ahead of time so that the people are spaced out. You have to wear your mask. So there wasn't a lot of people, and it's very big and spread out anyway, so it's easy to avoid people, even if there were a lot of people, which there weren't. They had excellent security. Their security is amazing, so you know, like, there's going to be no rioters there or whatever. I don't think there's
Monica
recently?
plans the trips around avoiding the areas where there are riots.
Right. So for example, that city did have some riots. I believe they did have some riots. I don't think at the Arch, but not far from there. It was downtown, and so I kept an eye on that. You know, we knew we were probably going to go through there, and I kept an eye on the news. I don't watch the news a lot anymore. I used to work in the news. I was a reporter, and so I don't like to watch the news anymore. And at the time, there hadn't been any riots in those past few days, and where they weren't near where we were going. And we went to the Arch, we came back, that's it. It was quiet. And that's the biggest city by far that we've been to.
In other words, everywhere we've been, it's never been a problem.
We've had no problems whatsoever.
We've been halfway across the U.S.
We've never felt in danger. We've never felt like we were in too crowded of an area with coronavirus. We have never felt unwelcome. Everything's been good, really, for the most part. So if you feel like you want to travel, you can do so safely and responsibly. Now, I don't recommend getting on a plane, but I also think that's part of the reason why we have seen maybe a decent amount of people is because people are traveling domestically right now and not internationally. But you did have to fly recently for something, which wasn't a leisure thing. It was something you had to do. And you said that everyone was wearing masks and, you know, being careful and all of that, and they were strict about it, right? Oh.
No. I remember when I was on the plane, the entire plane was full. There was not an empty seat.
Oh, that's true, but they did have to wear masks and everything.
Yeah, they did require you to wear masks. Not everybody wore masks. Or if I remember right, I don't think everybody wore masks. But the plane was completely full. They were even in their spiel that they have to give to you. She was even saying, like, you know, we can put you in a different spot to space you out better, but the plane is completely full, so we're not doing that. It was just really weird bad. Where, like, you can tell in her speech and in the policy they implemented that it's not supposed to be a full plane, but money comes first.
Obviously.
So, completely full plane. Not an empty seat at all.
So yeah, we wouldn't recommend flying right now unless you really have to. But anyway, so we just wanted to share our experiences thus far, and we'll continue to update on that. And thanks for watching.
See ya.
Bye.